Hey everyone, this is Dave from The Strongest Root. We're going to make some dry pepper seasoning today, along with some other hot sauce. I did a video on this a couple weeks ago. Had a lot of interest in it, but didn't follow up on the dry side, so I want to show you what that looks like today. Okay, so we're going to make some dry pepper seasoning today. We're going to put it in these containers. Got these online, got a whole bunch of them. Actually comes in like a pack of 8. And then we're going to take the wet seasoning, or the salsa, or not salsa, it's more like Tabasco sauce, and put it in these bottles here. So the ingredients are really simple. We've got peppers, I've got some jalapenos here that I'm going to use, some nice big onions, and then we have a lot of garlic. I like to put a lot of garlic in there. And then some white vinegar, about 4 cups of white vinegar. So it's very simple. We're just going to cut it all up. We're going to boil it. So we don't have to really chop up the jalapenos, super fine right now, because what's going to happen is it's going to go in the blender. And once I put it in the blender, I'm going to really make it smooth so that we can drain off the liquid and put it in the bottles. And then we're going to take that paste and we're going to turn it into a dry seasoning, and that's what this is all about. So, just straightforward. Just start. Oops. Always, always, always wear gloves. I forget just about every time. And then you pay for it later if you don't. It's a little humid out here today. It's probably already in the 80s. Anytime you're messing with peppers, always recommend it. Always keep these gloves around. Use it for different cooking situations and everything. So, all right. So I like to take the back ends off. On the jalapenos, we'll just chunk them up. Doesn't have to be, like I said, anything big. We're going to blend it down and smooth it out. But as you cut all of that up, it just goes right in here. Seeds and all. The seeds are important. They add a lot of heat, a lot of texture. So keep all of that going. And then with the small peppers, I just knock the backs off of them. Kind of snake, just kind of get a bunch together here. And then we'll chop those a little bit. And then from there, kind of chop those down and get them in there. So I'm going to chop all of this up, and then we'll get it in and get it going. Okay, so it's been about an hour. Our peppers are all boiled in. Onions are looking good. They're almost clear. So happy with that. It smells amazing. I'm smelling up the whole backyard. And by the way, that's an important fact. Don't do this in the house. You do this in the house, if you're married, your wife is going to kill you. If you got animals, they're going to go crazy. It really, really, really smells between the garlic and the onions and the vinegar and the peppers. The aroma is outrageous. I did it one time in the house, learned my lesson. So now I do everything outside. So what the next couple steps are, so I'm going to drain that off and put that in the blenders. I've got my dryer ready to go, so we'll put the paste in there. This is a very simple dryer. Has a temperature gauge. I think it goes up to 125, 150 degrees. And then you just turn it on, the blower starts, and then it just dries. So it's a simple unit, inexpensive. So, okay. We'll get this in here. We'll get this blended down. So I've got 2, just in case I can't get it all in one, because it still is kind of hot. Got to be careful that it doesn't pop the lid on you. Ooh. Just try not to breathe. Wow. Okay, we'll blend these together and mix these. It's strong. It's amazing. Get all that garlic and onion. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's get this on. That in place. Get my blender top, my motor. All right, so we're going to liquefy this. I'm going to open that for pressure purposes because it is hot. All right, got a little too much in this one, but I'm going to blend this one down a little bit too and mix them. Be nice if had an industrial sized mixer, right? Okay, so let's just kind of blend a little bit here. So, wow. So yeah, it'll take your breath away. Wow. All right. So we want to get it as smooth as we can. All right, that looks amazing. Let's get this other one done. Whew. Good morning, you guys. Maybe I should have put a mask on. It would have worked out. But all right, that's looking pretty good. Get some nice color to it. Okay. So the next important thing you're going to need is you're going to need a good strainer. Try to strain all that juice out. So we've got about 4 cups, but you'd be surprised how much of it gets absorbed. Wow. Be careful. I think I'm going to put it back in here once I get it strained out. And you just got to be patient with this part of it. You got a lot of fluid in there with all the pulp. So it's really looking good. You can see it's working its way through. It's an amazing smell. So this takes a little bit of time. I'll come back and we'll put it in the bottles. Okay, so we've got a bowl full of the strained off pepper juice. Super hot. Can't underestimate how really good it is though. And then over here I've got all of my pulp still kind of dripping off. I'm going to let this go for probably another hour, let it finish dripping down, get it in here, put what's left in one of the bottles. But the important part is I'm trying to get as much moisture off of here and get this more paste-like. So when I put it in my dryer, it holds up, doesn't go through the grade and stuff like that. So that's going to sit for a little bit. So the easiest thing to do I found is just get you a good pouring glass. Pour that juice into there. Just makes it a little easier to control. I know you're dirtying a lot of dishes. Wow. Still hits you every time. But it makes it just a bit easier. So we're just going to get this filled in here. I'm trying to make extras of these. I've got some friends of mine that want to hand these off to. They're a bunch of pepper lovers too. Okay. So that's it. Just get it in there nice. This will hold for quite some time. So once it's done, put it in the fridge. I've got these little caps. Whoops. So put a little cap on it, put the top on it, put it in the fridge, and it's good to go. So we'll come back in just a little bit, and we'll get the paste in the dryer, and I'll show you how I kind of layer it out in the dryer, and then it'll have to go for about 24 hours, and then we'll put it in, we'll grind it smooth. All right, so I've got my paste now, pepper paste I call it. So it's got still a lot of water in it, but it's more paste-like. It's easy to maneuver, it kind of spreads easy, so it helps with the trays. So I'm going to take my dryer trays. Another heads up, don't dry this in your house. There comes a point where it just gets so overwhelming with all of the smells. So choose a good weekend to do it when there's not going to be a lot of rain in the forecast, and just leave it outside. Take advantage of the heat. So what you can see I'm doing here is I'm just kind of flattening it out. I want it kind of thin so it makes it easier, dries quicker, because what will happen when it's dried, and you'll see when I do it, it'll just kind of pop off of there. So it makes it a little bit easier to work with. Whoops, got that one a little thin. All right. So I'll just keep doing that and get all of the trays done. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my dryer here. I've got 1, 2, 3, and this will be for the 4 stack. If you notice, I do keep it separate. I want plenty of airflow here so that it dries quick enough. So once that's done, put the lid on it. I'm going to turn mine to almost the highest setting. It's about 160, it's about as high as it gets. And then I'll turn it on and then forget about it until tomorrow. All right, so we're back. It's been 24 hours. My dryer's been out here outside. It's been well over 100 degrees, but this unit gets up to 160 degrees, constant airflow, so it dries things out really quick. It's not bad. It's, it's probably 50 bucks on Amazon or wherever I got it at. So this is what it looks like. So these things are really, dried out nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our grinder and we are going to load it up with all of this. It's got really good color too. I'm really happy with how that's all looking. Again, I highly recommend wear gloves. And when you grind this and you open it, make sure not to breathe in the air when you open it up, because the dust and everything, it's going to make your nose go crazy, make your eyes water, because it is quite strong. But it smells fantastic, so this always makes for such a great seasoning. Alright, so I got all my seasoning in here. You can see how it looks. Looks really awesome. One thing to keep in mind, I always find fascinating is, at the beginning of the video I had these big old trays of vegetables, had all the jalapenos and habaneros and the garlic and the onion. And it's amazing after the cooking process, the drying process, how far it all really cooks down and how much you really get out of it. It's quite remarkable actually that it yields so little. So anyway, so I'm going to hit this a few times and get this, into a more powdery state. I don't like chopping it too fine. And again, when you open it, do yourself a favor, don't stick your nose over it. It looks pretty good. Make sure all the big chunks are, we'll probably hit it one more time. Still a little kind of chunky in the middle. Got another pulp. It doesn't take much when it's dry like that. It breaks up pretty quick. All right, I like that. So I'll show you what that looks like. So now you can see it's only down to this much. So that is all that is left of all of that work we did yesterday. Quite remarkable. So anyway, I've got me some containers that I bought on Amazon. I put my little logo on there so I know. I give it to my friends, they love it. So anyway, so we're going to get that in here. Try not to spill it everywhere. Okay. So all of that, and that's how much dry seasoning you get. So do it a couple of times. Because every batch is different, I use a different container every time. This one is going to be a little bit more jalapeno-y than the last one I made that was just all habaneros. So should be really good though. The flavor on this is fantastic. We use it on pizzas, pastas. So there you go. So we got 4 bottles of this. Turned out really good. And we got 1/3 of a jar of that. So happy with that yield. So I hope you liked this video. I love doing these cooking videos. They're a lot of fun. I enjoy cooking. As you can see, I've got Blackstones, Traegers. I love being out here, cook breakfast, lunch and dinner out here when it's not overly hot. Right now it's almost noon on Sunday and it's almost 95 degrees. So it's wrong time of year to be out spending too much time outdoors, but you get out in the mornings, spend some time in the garden, do a project like this, and it's very rewarding. So if you got something out of this, I hope you like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'd sure appreciate it. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.